Hi there, Rod here. Just dropping in before we start the show because I was conscious before the episode that it was Zach's birthday and I forgot to call it out and embarrass him on the show, so I thought I'd do it now. So we're going to say happy birthday, Zach. Do you want to say happy birthday, Zach, Poppy?
Happy birthday, Zach.
Pretty good. I also brought some friends with me who are going to say happy birthday before we get the show started.
Whoosh! Hello, I'm Whoosh and I came down from space. I traveled for miles to put a smile on your face. Yo,
Zach.
Happy birthday, you're cool. My home is Mars and the trip is long, but it's worth it to sing you this birthday song. Yo,
Zach.
happy birthday, you're cool. Bye-bye, everyone. Whoa! Whoosh!
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name is Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
Back again, Zach. I feel like we are working harder than ever. I don't think we've actually ever done this many episodes in a row in such a short amount of time in the whole history of our show.
No, I mean, it's funny that the actual thing that we do a show about disappears and we're like, we should chat more often.
Let's do more shows. Here's a crazy idea. More. More is more sometimes, Rod. First of all, Zach, quick check-in. How are you going? How are you coping with isolation and just life in general?
It's starting to get to me in funny, kind of odd ways, I think. There's just...
What's the oddest way?
I think the oddest way is that maybe that I do actually like to go outside and exercise now, which has never really been anything. Like go for a run.
That's not true.
Like that's never really, but that idea of like, it's lunchtime, let's go for a 5 kilometer or 6 kilometer or whatever run doesn't feel like that's new to me. Like I've always liked the idea of exercising for health or whatever, but like
right.
that it would offer some sort of like mental break or anything like that is definitely very new to me. So, that's nice. That's a positive change, I guess, but a weird one. Still a weird one.
I'll tell you my equivalent of that. I've never really been into true crime stuff that much before, but lately I've discovered a subgenre of true crime that I'm really enjoying, which is true crime, but they actually free the person and he actually gets out. And, these people
like
who've been in jail for 30
style.
years. Yes, exactly like Innocent Project style. I mean, the parallel is pretty obvious when you think about it. People locked up and then they finally allowed to get out and they're like, you're so happy about it. There's not a lot of depth there, but I mean, that's my thing at the moment. That's my go-to thing. That's what I'm enjoying.
I like that. Are you engaging in any of the sports that have been coming back? I can't imagine you've been watching much Bundesliga. Are you the little bit of German football? The AFL is coming back soon?
No, I couldn't care less about the AFL. Give me, I don't know, throw anything else at me and I'll tell you yes or no, but it'll probably be no.
I heard that there is, if you can find it on the dark web, there is some illicit tobogganing happening that you can, yeah. What about, how about last week tonight featured and sponsored those marble racing YouTube series?
Yes, I saw that they did the sponsorship. I haven't seen any of the racing and I haven't seen any recent episodes. I don't know if they talk about it yet, but that's fine. They can do that. There's plenty of other, I just feel like if you're going to watch something like that, you could just watch replays of real sport, but, to each their own. Speaking of real sport though, Zach, before we started recording, you said, do you want to touch on this story? And I said, this is the only story that I want to talk about. Some sim racing. So I'm on the record as saying, don't really care about sim racing. It means nothing, especially, not even Formula One sim racing, but Formula E sim racing, and the controversy surrounding has been dominating the news for the last few days because it's a slow news year. But why don't you run us through the story and we will laugh heartily at it.
Oh, well, this is just a bit of fun, right? That, professional and serious driver, Daniel Abt, who races for the Audi Formula E team. So this is nothing Formula E team, right? This is Audi. Volkswagen Group Audi. He races for Audi Formula E team and has been participating in their e-simulator, e-racing, e-pre online stuff. And then he thought it would be hilarious if instead of him racing this week, he would get a professional simulation driver to drive instead.
So I'll just butt in there. It is hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. But but he was found out. And interestingly, Stoffel Van Dorn, who was also racing that weekend, noted a couple of times on the stream and was like, wow, Daniel Abt is way better than he was last week or the week before. And why can't we see his face? And then when subsequently this sim driver who was filling in for Daniel Abt finished on the podium and had to do post-race interviews, was just like a black square instead of, Daniel Abt. So it's quite apt that then Audi basically was like, you can't lie and cheat. These kind of this is kind of serious. And sacked him from the team. Like they suspended him, and then basically he's no longer racing for them. So it's a really serious thing. To be clear, in real life, he's been sacked for not racing in a fake race. I mean, it's layers and layers of absurdity. And his name is Apt, which is apt. I mean, you can make that obvious pun, which is great. I mean, this is. Every time someone makes a dumb comment about Formula One, like, they should do flips and turn sprinklers on, and it's kind of like, yeah, that would be dumb, but blah. I mean, everyone always says they want it, but then when they get it in this variety, when someone's finally like pulling a crazy thing and substituting it for a real sim racer, everyone's like, boo, we don't like you, Daniel Abt. Boo, get out of our sport. And he even said in his comments, really, really sorry that I did that. But sim racing means nothing to me. I don't care. This is an absolute joke, and I'm not getting paid for any of this. No one benefited from me doing this. Yeah. This was just a dumb thing that I did for kicks. So
yeah, I mean, his whole plan was that they had all this behind the scenes planning. They were going to essentially do like a YouTube series on like, look at this great ruse. Like, look how fun this is. Let's have fun with our sport. Let's not take things too seriously. But Stoffel Van Dorn was like, no, this is the most serious thing happening in the world right now. Rah, 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 rah.
I do remember.
He seems like a serious guy.
I remember pointing out that Stoffel Van Dorn looked like the most serious person, and like, he would go to a party and he'd be the one asking them to turn the music down. He'd be the one calling everyone's parents when he found out that there was alcohol getting passed around. Stoffel Van Dorn just looked like a bit of a wet blanket, to be honest, and he's lived up to that moniker. But that was the main story that I wanted to talk about, was how there were real life consequences for this funny joke that someone pulled in fake world racing land. But anyway, the only thing that I would say that's maybe remotely serious about that story is that it was for charity, but it doesn't seem like any harm was done to the charity either, so who cares? I just don't get it. I honestly, I'm with Daniel Abt. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, the amount of podcasts I've faked where, like, we don't do video when we do these podcasts. I haven't been on half these shows.
I just start talking halfway through and then I don't stop until I'm, doing the sound off. And then by then you've woken up, or you just like, I'll send you a send off later and you can just dub it in.
Yeah, we're actually very good at doing each other's voices. So half the time, the other person isn't even there. We just give them a rest.
Well, there was that one episode where I forgot to record and I was like, fuck, what are we going to do? And I did contemplate just using your audio and trying to remember what I said. But then I realized, fuck, that won't work either, because I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time. Maybe we should touch on some of the other F1 stories, Zach. I don't fully understand this one, so unfortunately the burden is all on you. What is happening with F1 coming to Britain?
No, I mean, what isn't happening with F1 coming to Britain? Well,
stick to what is happening, please.
Yes, what's happening is the UK have said, we're shutting down the borders, so people can't just come in and run a sports event or any other event for that matter. So Formula One went and asked the Home Office, the UK Home Office, if they would be able to get special dispensation, and the Home Office, primarily to start with, was just like, I don't see how that would work, because you've got to bring a lot of people over. And it sounded like there was just kind of initial discussions and a straight up no right away. But since then, they've gone directly to the boss man himself, Boris Johnson, apparently through back channels. And he's gone, I'll sneak you in, guys. Don't worry about it. I'll get you in. I'll get you on the list. How many of you? 3,000 of you. Right. I think I could probably make that work. So, maybe it'll be a special Eurostar that he'll book directly for them all,
Okay.
that they can all come at once across the underneath the channel or something. I don't know, but it sounds like that Silverstone could go ahead with the kind of double header race that they're hoping, race setup they're hoping to do at a lot of tracks this year, but it might get pushed a little later into the year. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe that Silverstone was like the last race of the European segment of the 2020 season, in inverted commas. So we'll see. I don't have any other insight other than, I think if Boris Johnson kind of wants it to happen, then it probably will.
Yeah, that all sounds fine to me. I also saw a quote from Jackie Stewart saying, there's no F1 without racing at Silverstone. I was like, well, there would be. There just wouldn't be any at Silverstone. Sorry, sucks to be you. Sorry that you're so British, but it would be. There would be an F1 season if there was no race at Silverstone. But anyway, we move on. The last bit of news is the Renault vacant seat, which it's one of the only hotly contested seats, you'd have to say, and it is still a bit of a mystery who's going to get there. It looks like we'll have to wait a little bit longer to find out who it might be. Rumours running hot today about the theoretical moving of Sebastian Vettel to join Hamilton at Mercedes, with thought pieces and Galaxy Brain geniuses writing pieces for the Formula One website. Sorry, guys, it just isn't going to happen. I'm sorry that everyone's getting their hopes up, but if I were Toto Wolff and I signed that, I would probably end up in the loony bin, because that would be a monstrous decision.
Well, I mean, he'll be in the loony bin, and and Mercedes cars will be in the bin as well, because Sebastian Vettel has not just been poorly performing these last couple of years, he's also been driving into walls.
Yeah,
so,
well, we know he doesn't cope very well driving. We know he doesn't cope very well losing. We know he doesn't cope very well not smashing into other drivers. Why in the fuck would you sign him?
Yeah, no, and why upset Lewis Hamilton?
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It makes no sense. So,
anyway.
No, I can't. But, next week when the news comes out that Sebastian Vettel signed and Valtteri Bottas is going to Renault.
Announcement. Yeah, it'll be out tomorrow. And this bit of the episode will be cut. Well, Zach, maybe it's time that we cut straight to our Drive to Survive, aka Dare to Swear, commentary. This week we're doing Season 2, Episode 7. I have it on good authorities that this is all about red cars. So maybe you can give us a countdown and we can just get stuck into this watch.
Yeah, let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dun, dun.
Dun, dun. You guys all know that you should be watching along.
It's funny that I thought that was Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, right.
But it's not. It's
no,
turns
not
out
anymore.
that Charles Leclerc looks like Kimi Räikkönen from the side. The two red bull guys. The two red guys.
This was surprising, I have to say, that Sebastian Vettel listens to this kind of music. Like, you imagine he maybe skews older than Leclerc for sure, but the genres and everything, like country music, I was like, man, really? Like, he's such a bumpkin.
Do you think that maybe Sebastian Vettel is that kind of like lame Euro trash kind of, like, I don't care about any of the stuff that's in fashion, I just like what I like kind of person?
I think he doesn't care about what's in fashion. I just don't think he likes anything. It's hard to imagine that he likes anything, because who knows what he likes? Who knows anything about the man?
He likes driving Formula One cars. He likes.
Does he? Not lately.
I mean, this was the big get, though. I'm more interested in hearing from Ferrari in this season of Drive to Survive than I was Mercedes. Like, they're just vastly more interesting as an outfit. As personality, I mean, so much of why we do this show was because Ferrari is always full of personalities. When we first started doing Super License, I feel like we were talking about Ferrari all the time, like endlessly, because they're just such a caricature almost of Formula One. Because of this, as we're seeing now, this insanely great racing history.
Well, I mean, they also had Fernando Alonso. He was also the one that was challenging Red Bull, who were the dominant team. I mean, you could argue that, Ferrari's been the one dominating, but, Red Bull is still sort of there and thereabouts sometimes. So, they're in the mix for sure. But, I'm sure we talked as much about Webber when people would be like, why are you talking about this guy that comes second all the time?
This is a brilliant story that there is so much footage of Sebastian Vettel as a child and Michael Schumacher. Not footage as much as there is photographs and everything like that. They really did know each other quite well, and it's a great story that Sebastian Vettel just became, one of the best Formula One drivers ever. But it's all
on track.
Yeah. And as Will Buxton is telling us now, totally interrupted by a resurgent Mercedes who almost partly feels like stole a bit of Ferrari's story. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, we're Mercedes. We've actually been racing for much longer than you. We're actually a much bigger driving force in the world of automotive, like racing, than you're just this kind of bespoke, unique racing outfit. But we're Mercedes, one of the greatest car manufacturers and brands in the world. And it's kind of totally disrupted Sebastian Vettel's life in Formula One.
We'll also claim Germany as our own homeland. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And ironically, Mercedes kind of burst back into the Formula One scene with Michael Schumacher. That's an interesting kind of bent to that story, that the way they kind of got back in and made it work was because they came back with Michael. And
he built the foundations of that team.
Yeah.
And then that they ended up dominating and halting Sebastian Vettel's successful run. At 2 teams.
Yeah. At 2 teams, yeah. Yeah. Just a couple of times.
Just a couple of times. Whoops. Sorry about that. But this is literally just been so hyped because, the sizzle reel for every episode included clips of Ferrari, and it was like, Ferrari will come, Ferrari will come. We all know the kind of year that Ferrari had by the time we watch this, so it's like, just get to the behind-the-scenes stuff. And this is sort of what we get here. So, there's a huge build-up, really, to this episode. Much bigger than any other.
Yeah, I mean, this is Will Buxton's just describing exactly what I was going to say, which is that even 2019 was billed as the, Vettel-Hamilton fight, but actually it turned into the Charles Leclerc-Sebastian Vettel fight. Like, that Charles Leclerc became the Ferrari story. Also, I love that Ferrari that Leclerc was driving there. So cool.
What one's that?
I think it was the Superfast, but I think it was, but maybe it's not. It might be the one that's like shooting brake style.
Sure.
But
I have no idea.
That's okay. That's okay, Rod. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be a car guy to be into Formula One. That's what this show is built on. Do you think that Charles Leclerc is staying till 10 p.m. at night working with the team like Vettel is always rumoured to be?
Maybe not every night. But I'm sure he puts in his hours. He must.
Yeah.
You can't do well at a team and not put in the hours. It just doesn't happen.
He just looks like he was born in these Ferrari colours, Charles Leclerc.
He couldn't look more comfortable, could he?
No, exactly.
And look how well he gets on with the boss. It never hurts. There's a tip for everybody, a life lesson. Go and say hello to the boss on the way in and out all the time.
Yes, exactly. And then eventually the boss will be saying goodbye to you when he leaves the office.
Yes, that's true.
He'll still be in yours.
And you invite them to 1 in 5 beers and everything's good.
Yes. That is the look. Sebastian Vettel has just looked concerned, almost like he's faked putting on that he's like, I'm focused, I'm concentrating. And Charles Leclerc just looks so like, I do this. I've been doing this since I was born. Like this comes so naturally to me, and I'm not even thinking about you anymore, Sebastian. Like, this is Austin. Like, by Austin. I don't think Charles Leclerc had seen off Sebastian Vettel. By then, he was like, you're still here, but this is my team now.
Well, Leclerc went to Ferrari with something that he needed to prove, and he did. I mean, he only won 2 races, but to win 1 was fine. And then to win, Monza was like Christmas, all your Christmases coming at once. So yeah, for sure he went from kind of like untested to kind of the golden boy. And Ferrari all of a sudden were looking to him because Vettel's star was on the opposite of a rise. It was on the fall. His star was on the fall. Like that famous saying, the star was on the fall.
Yeah. Very old. I love that, Sebastian Vettel. He's very young. I'm not very young.
It's when you talk yourself into a corner and you're like, shit, I have to say those words now. I don't want to say them, but I have to.
He's been doing a lot of driving himself into corners, turns out. That's the last I'm going to joke about Sebastian Vettel crashing cars.
You don't have to stop. I don't mind.
Do you think it's... Would you be... Like, if you're a Formula One driver and you're in the car and you're driving with your teammate, would you be a little bit stressed about that?
Nah. Nah, it wouldn't stress me out. What do you think would be stressing about that?
I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm being judged on everything whilst I was driving around with my teammate.
I don't know. I always had a rule when I was driving around in the car. If I'm driving, I get to pick the music. So that would I'd be definitely reinforcing that rule.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't be going for country, but yeah, there'd probably be some talking heads or something. But yeah, it definitely wouldn't be the passenger's choice.
No, definitely not.
So that's advantage, right? I say.
How do they decide who drives? Because they're just driving from the garages or from their like team buildings and stuff.
I guess one picks up the other, right?
Press part or something. Yeah, just drives around in the Ferrari. He's like, "Don't worry, mate. I'll drive you over to the press paddock today.
Yeah,
pick you up at 10:30.
Maybe, yeah. Leclerc is like, my super fast is in the shop. So,
do you reckon they actually like text each other? Like, would the drivers ever call? Like, would they ever call each other or communicate outside of like professional formal comms?
I think some of them probably would. Like, if you sometimes hear about like, I was on holiday in the US and I know that so and so has a place there, so I went and visited him. Or, yeah, I remember that story from a while ago where someone asked, I think it was Jolyon Palmer. They asked Jolyon Palmer when he was a driver, did the drivers have a WhatsApp group? And he was like, no, they don't. And then they asked Romain Grosjean. He was like, yeah, we definitely do. You just have to be a driver. And that was when Jolyon Palmer realized, I'm leaving. I won't be in Formula One much longer. So they're obviously in contact with each other, but you do always hear about when there's something bad that happens on the track and it isn't resolved. You always hear at the next race, yeah, I actually called him, or I sent him I was messaging him saying, I'm really sorry, and we patched up that way, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it does seem like that's an unusual thing, but it happens.
I sent him a clip of Will Buxton breaking down why I was right.
Yes. I sent him a YouTube link to me beating him in sim racing. It turned out it wasn't actually me. It was Daniel Apps.
So we're here at Monza, a track that I've been to, where it's boiling hot. And Charles Leclerc
Congrats on going to a track finally. Jeez.
No. Charles Leclerc qualified on pole. And look, here we are. Oh, look.
He's just going to drive back on the track and no cars will be in the way. It'll be great.
Oh, God, that was so dumb. Oh, it was maybe one of the dumbest things I've seen. Yeah, and all even more compounded by hitting Lance Stroll, a guy who would have just been like, it's like, yeah, you couldn't have driven out in front of a worse person to drive out in front of. Like, there was no way Lance Stroll was going to be looking for you.
Yeah, like, I mean, of all the drivers to pull out in front of, it has to be the one with, like, the most questionable amount of talent. It's insult to injury, is what it is. Here it is, Leclerc pushing Hamilton off like a big old cheat. What a cheat.
Yeah, just
typical,
just exactly what Lewis Hamilton has done
Ferrari
hundreds of
Assistance. No, I thought it was a good hard move and it was good racing and I want to see more of that. And
it was great racing.
Sorry if you're British or Jackie Stewart, but I thought it was really good and I want to see more of it. And Leclerc was dealt even harsher than that, I thought, by Max Verstappen, and nothing happened, so deal with it, mate.
I really wish that the driver mics had a little bit more volume control.
A pop filter in front of the driver mics?
Yeah, exactly.
Put them on an arm. The halo's already there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. Just get some high definition mics in there. Pop filters, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It'd be like, how's my pace? And then it'd be like, what your pleasure is, Leclerc. Speak over the mic. Just speak over it.
Yeah, exactly. Just use your normal tone. You don't need to yell.
Do you have a blanket you could put over your head? Because there's a bit of...
There's a lot of... It seems like there's a lot of environmental noise around you, Charles. If you could do something about that, that'd be great.
Just, turn up the gate.
I do have to say, at least Sebastian Vettel hasn't been a robot through this period. Like, he has played along when people have tried to, like, in that questionnaire, it's like, not a particularly good day. And he was like, no, it wasn't a particularly good day. But he wasn't like, F you, I'll give you nothing. Like, it was, you know, he's still chatty. At least he gives us something to talk about.
And talk we do. So they are definitely setting up the tension. It couldn't be more clear than this race, though. So,
bit of one-way tension, I would say. That Charles Leclerc is feeling no tension.
Yeah, well, it's easy to not feel the tension when you're the one that won, but there's a disparity then between the drivers, which causes tension.
yeah, definitely. Or tension, especially within the team, right? Because at Ferrari, it would be confusing because you'd be like,
it's team tension. It's tension, you could say.
Speaking of fireworks, Marina Bay.
Couldn't have set that up any better.
Another track that we've been to. Look at that. Hitting all the hits.
Yes, finally one I've been to. Yeah, this is a good one. Let's talk about that. Let's point that out.
Walked the track. Haven't walked that part specifically with the pit lane, but, you know, been on other bits.
Saw it on the screen.
Yeah. Will they crash into each other?
Don't even worry about it.
Oh, Charles not happy about that. Even Bonotto's like, what the hell happened there?
Whoops.
I forgot. Charles Leclerc puts together whole PowerPoint presentations while he's driving on why they've made a mistake and why he's right.
He must prepare those. He must practice those in the mirror.
Yeah.
I respectfully disagree with your decision. We will talk about this after.
No.
This was part Sebastian's year. This is part Sebastian versus Ferrari, but it's also part Sebastian versus Singapore because he had a shocker the year before. So, yeah. Yeah, this one was bad, I thought.
Yeah, because they planned this, right? They knew whenever Ferrari locked out the front row, they were like, you need to make sure you don't crash into each other. And then
so give him a toe and let him through and then switch back.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that everybody gives Ferrari a hard time on their racecraft, like their race management and race strategy. And that does always seem to be that they're on the back foot a little bit. They're not very good at being... what do you call the person in the story who makes the things happen?
Protagonist, antagonist, you pick.
Thank you, protagonist. There we are. They're not very good at being the protagonists in races, and they kind of wait for Mercedes or Red Bull to do something. Then they try to react with their best strategy, and when they do go and try and do stuff, it doesn't quite work with their two drivers. You know, they don't have a clear driver, hierarchy, and there's been lots of talk recently from lots of teams being like, we think the number one, number two driver thing is should be gotten away with, and that I don't think that's going to be any different with Carlos Sainz at Ferrari. They're going to have similar problems. That if they lock out the front row and one of them gets away faster, do you think that Carlos Sainz is going to want to give a position back? No. He's going to want to get a 3-second lead out in the front and then make the team decide something differently.
Ferrari, when they're strategizing, they have to take into account an extra factor that the drivers, as well Vettel, might just do the unexpected. So yeah, if you're Mercedes, it's easy to say, look, we're going to put Lewis in this position, and there's no other variable because he's Lewis, and he will just make that happen regardless. Yeah. Ferrari are like, well, if Mercedes do this, one of our drivers might do this, but then who knows what the other one's going to do if we do that? So we have to consider that. It just creates too much. It's just too much.
It is too much.
It's like when you're reading a Choose Your Own Adventure and you try and keep your fingers in all the pages to try and go back a step in case that's the wrong one. And you just, there's only so many fingers and you end up turning pages with your tongue and it's just not good.
No, it's not. It's not. It's funny because I don't, whilst watching this, I don't get the feeling that Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel don't like each other. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I don't think there's animosity.
There's the racing stuff that I'm sure neither of them like. But yeah. There's the people, who they are. And I don't think Leclerc's threatened by who Vettel is as a person, for sure.
I think Vettel's self-analytical enough to know that he blundered into it before, but he knows that he's not the world's greatest racer right now or anymore, and that he's in the twilight of his career. And that's just what happens. It doesn't even seem awkward between them. It seems funny and weird maybe, but never awkward. Like, they're driving around in the cars together. Like, they're fine.
It's funny how, with Vettel leaving Ferrari, someone pointed out how when Ricciardo went to Red Bull, he was the junior driver, way less experienced, wasn't a race winner, got into the team next to Vettel, made him look absolutely stupid. And then here we are at Ferrari. Young driver comes in, hasn't won a race, and makes Vettel look absolutely stupid. And then he leaves. So, it's really history repeating itself here.
So when Vettel goes to Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton makes him look really stupid, where's he going to
go? Formula E? Sim racing?
It's funny because I often think about, like drivers go to Ferrari and the whole team's Italian and it's important to learn Italian. But a lot of this like car stuff is quite specific and like abstract concepts. So it's not the simplest thing to just be like, I speak a bit of Italian and we can kind of get by. It's like, no, you need to describe, like I'm going to describe to you in Italian what I think is specifically happening to the car when you go around that corner with very specific language. That's not the simplest thing.
Well, Vettel will be hoping, whatever season we do get, and whatever chance he does get in the car for the rest of the season, he'll be hoping they can win some races, because he learned those 4 Italian words, and he wants a chance to use them when he wins.
What are those 4, Rod? What are the 4 most Sebastian Vettel?
Grazie ragazzi. And, tutta bella. I don't know. That's probably not a thing.
Yeah, tutta bella, that's the one. Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't speak Italian.
Okay.
Mamma mia, we know he said that
Mamma
one.
mia, that's what he says, yeah.
Mamma mia, grazie ragazzi. Did you say prego? That's the only other one you need to know at restaurants, right? Prego is thanks and please all the time.
Okay, cool. I like efficiency of words. Having to learn one word and being able to use it in 2 scenarios, I love it.
Yeah. Cheers is like that for Australians, I think. Cheers is a bit of please and very much a thank you.
It's very much a thank you. You could argue it is literally thank you. So this is really, I mean, yeah, the producers must have been thanking their stars. We've got access to Ferrari at the US Grand Prix. We're trying to promote Formula One in the US. We're going to have Formula One's most prestige brand and most, the biggest loyalist fan base. And it's also the apex of this story between these 2 drivers.
No, you're exactly right. Let me know if you can go faster. Question. That's a really great way to deliver that as a question. I'm going to say statements now and just say question. Pasta could be hotter? Question. More drinks? Question.
Does this look infected to you? Question.
Oh, there we are.
There we go. I can see the subtitles. That was only 5 different words.
Oh, 4th Charles Leclerc. That's nothing.
It's pathetic. May as well go home. Wasn't this the race after the supposed engine cheating was exposed that they had to turn down their... Wasn't that the reason why he was so slow or something like that? After dominating, because he took a whole bunch of poles. And then there was one race, I thought it was this one, when they mysteriously lost some pace on the straights.
It could be. I know he had engine problems in practice, right? So
yeah, it's true, yeah.
They had to make some changes.
That's what they want you to think. The globalists.
Ah.
Yeah. It's 5G. It's a conspiracy.
The Ferrari Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly. No, thanks.
And that's all from me. Goodbye.
Yeah, have to
Grazie,
go.
ragazzi.
If you have any questions for me, just ask them for me on my Facebook. Goodbye. Vittel, you don't have a Facebook. Can't hear you.
The visor's down, guys. The visor's down. That means I can't hear you.
Yes. There will be no encore.
That is so... see, this is what I mean. I think he's very self-aware. I love that piece where he's, describing that it's going to be in his, telling his grandkids, like, look how good I was, just look at the numbers. That's exactly how he thinks, right? No one can take away his dominance at Red Bull. And that he was the best driver in the world at that point, the best car in the world, but no one can take away that legacy from him. It's just not quite the legacy that he wanted, or was he maybe expecting. So yeah, it's true. Oh man, I forgot this about Austin, that there's so many famous people there as well.
Reconnaissance and Michael Douglas, he seems to just be dragged around. I think he sleeps in one of those shipping compartments that they ship the cars around in and just follows Formula One around the world.
Yeah, what does Michael
But yeah,
Douglas
you were talking about
do?
Vettel and his numbers, and that's his legacy. I think the problem with Vettel is he just doesn't have much of a story to it as well. Like, there's not that many times where it's like, I had a season where I came from behind and I never gave up. And it's just like, no, I just led every race. Won every race by 30 seconds. It was easy, really. That's his kind of career. That's the successful part of his career.
I mean, it used to be that he was the young one, right? That he was the youngest winner,
story.
youngest pole sitter, youngest world champion. And then since then, I mean, he was ludicrously old, it turns out, for a lot of those things. He'll probably be the youngest world champion for a while, right? That hasn't been beaten.
Well, I mean, as long as Lewis is around, yeah, he probably... I mean, there's a lot of people who are waiting and biding their time until Lewis isn't around for whatever reason. And, yeah, then they'll probably fancy their chances.
Who could it be? The next youngest world champion?
Well, I mean, he's probably at high school right now.
Yeah, that's true. He's probably doing sim races.
He might not have been
other
born
professional
yet.
drivers.
Yeah. Yes, you can. Pretty easy. Well, try harder.
One of the most boring national anthems, maybe the American national anthem?
I don't know. I mean, we're not even in... I'm not American. Don't live in America. But it seems overplayed. So,
yeah.
And I mean, imagine being there, how overplayed it would be.
Yeah, they do play it at everything, right? They play
boy.
It feels
Drop
like
of a
before
hat,
school.
Stop at a red light.
Play
Let's play the anthem.
Yeah. Does every shop have to play it as they open in the morning? That's what I imagine.
That's the law. I think that's the law.
As the Walmart opens in the morning,
Yeah.
the American national anthem plays. Do you reckon every single person has it on their iPhone as a downloaded track?
It probably comes preset as their ringtone, doesn't it?
Yep. Oh, take that, America. We told you.
I mean, yeah, of all the things to bash them about. The anthem.
Oh, I love that shot. They do this quite a lot in the show, the shot of the driver's face, essentially, as they start, and you can just see that kick off the line as they get thrown back in the seat.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Vettel needs to make a good start. Yeah, but he doesn't.
No, Max Verstappen, always around, always mucking things up for Ferrari.
How selfish.
But
But as long as
right,
the
I'm making
player's
car
behind
noises
him,
now.
he'll be happy with that.
Lots of good facial hair on the engineers and garage staff at Ferrari. They seem like they've all got their own little sense of style. I said last episode that where we're going to get the backstory on some of the team members outside of drivers and management. I'd like to know why that guy chose to have, that very specific goatee.
I'd like to follow their fashion journey throughout a year. Work out when they decide to grow a beard for the start of the European season or something. He tries to get a perm mid-season, then has to shave his head the next race or something when he realizes what a mistake he's done. Those kind of stuff.
Yeah. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Simple overtake on Sebastian Vettel. You would think.
Should be.
Too close. Or is it? Oh, I can't watch.
Yeah, if you're a big Ferrari fan, you might want to look away now.
I mean, it really does look like in just kind of, looking at this again, that Charlotte Leclerc just leaves Vettel in the dust here. Oh, locked up. There's a Carlos Sainz taking his position for the next season. Yeah. Look, if Daniel Ricciardo's overtaking, you know something's wrong.
Yeah, that is a legit problem.
Yeah. Sebastian doesn't know the Italian for legit problem, Rod, so... I've got a ragazzi problem, guys.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
No, it's fucked.
Oh, and that's really broken.
Yeah, see you later.
Shouldn't have driven over those bumps too many times, eh, Seb? Yeah. I think the suspension just failed. Yeah, mate, we can tell.
Yeah. You're going back to the hits, yeah.
Yeah. You or the car? Ooh. Oh, Toto Wolf's little pursed lips, it happens.
I'd love to have a huge smile, but the cameras are on me. Can't do it. No reason. Yeah, just because he fucked his car there.
I mean, they did at least tell him, but yeah, they could have told him to start with. He shouldn't have to ask so many questions. I do find that incredibly perplexing, the information they do give the drivers when they're driving and the information they don't, the way they deliver stuff. I'm always like, was that the right way to do that? Why didn't you just give them all the information in one sentence? Seb's suspension broke on curb 8, avoid. Okay, cool. No more follow-up needed.
Always makes me think of the great entertainment that they have at Austin. Whatever happens in the race, he probably is just looking forward to Katy Perry or whatever playing afterwards. Or maybe Matthew McConaughey getting on stage and playing the bongos, who knows. But driving around Melbourne at the moment, and bear in mind, this is late May, there's still posters up for the entertainment that there was going to be at the Melbourne Grand Prix. The actual post race, they were trying to sell it as even if you don't want to come to the race, come and see the concert, it'll be great. So those posters are still up because there's been nothing to replace those with. So
yeah, you don't need to go and send somebody out there to poster over blank pieces of paper.
Yeah, you're not going to put up a poster advertising a Zoom live stream for a stand-up comedian or something, or
a simulated race,
or indeed a Formula One commentary on a podcast.
So was this where it happened, Rod? Was this where Sebastian Vettel went, you know what? Maybe our goals as a team and as a person are no longer aligned.
Absolutely. Whatever the racing driver's equivalence of a biological clock is, Vettel can feel it ticking. It's pulsing in his ears. He's I need to get something ahead of this guy. I need to put him behind me whatever way I can.
So I'm going to be the first to break my suspension at Austin. That way I be the first.
The youngest driver to break the suspension on turn 8.
That's very prescient. Bonotto there saying, we're not going to hesitate in the future. It's you obviously didn't. You went, bye Vettel, hello Carlos Sainz. It sounds like that decision was made very quickly and very simply.
Probably talking to him, they turned off the camera. They were Bonotto, if you could just step aside, we've got Carlos coming in. And they're actually, wait a second. Can we have 2 minutes alone?
Yeah.
See you later.
That's it. I don't want to...
We're seeing coming up, and I don't want to spoilers for next time, yeah.
Yeah, no coming up spoilers. I mean, we have both watched the whole season already, but...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't stick in my head that same way, so it's nice to not have spoilers for next time.
No, it's good. That's not what this is about. It's about the journey, man. Well, Zach, that was another commentary in the bag. We've got, I think, what have we got? 3 left? Oh, we're flying through this
3?
thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to need a different show to do commentary of before Formula One comes back at this rate.
90s basketball bloopers.
Right. Okay. I mean, you didn't want to go like The Last Dance, obviously.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, I don't
Already
know if our
watched
fans
that.
would be into that anyway. Yeah.
There's not enough coverage of the Phoenix Suns gorilla mascot doing dunks in that one, so it really ruined
Who
the
is
season for me.
your NBA team, Rod, if you had to pick one?
Legit, it used to be Phoenix Suns back in the day. This is just sort of the late Jordan era, even sort of slightly post-Jordan. And then Houston Rockets were doing really well, and I sort of followed them, but I didn't really barrack for them, if you know what I mean. But they had a strong bloody team. And then after that, I tried to kind of just follow the Golden State Warriors just as like a brand, but not really knowing anything about them in that way. And then by then, you know, the NBA was just off the radar because it had just died a natural death until Jordan returned for the Washington Wizards or whoever it was, the team that he bought. And he returned and was garbage for them. So
I feel like Andrew Gaze played for the Washington Wizards at some point as well. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Maybe he did. He definitely won a championship sitting on the bench for someone. That might have been Miami. Not sure. But yeah, I don't know. You got an NBA team?
No, not really.
Right.
There's random things. Like, I quite like the Phoenix Suns. When I went to New York for the first time, I watched the Suns absolutely, like, demolish the New York Knicks, and I thought that was very fun to be there for that. And then I've always... I quite like Harden and the Houston Rockets as well. But, yeah, I don't have a team. Like, when I was young, like, when I was little, I was born in 88, so, like, I firmly grew up in the, like, Jordan... like dominating the world stage, not from just a basketball perspective, but from a sporting perspective.
Yeah.
So, like, of course I knew about Jordan, but there was no real way to, like, watch the NBA when I was into sport as a kid. Like, it wasn't really a thing you would do or could do in Melbourne, really. Like, we didn't have Foxtel or anything to watch it. So, it was difficult. So, I never really, you know, I loved playing basketball, but I never really supported a team. It's the opposite with Formula One, right? All about supporting the sport, but never race it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, look, let's kick back into F1 mode. The one thing that we do normally do that is a constant, and the fans demand that we do it, even though we have wanted to stop for years and years and years. But they insist that we do a super quiz. So let's kick on with this week's super quiz.
We will accept a couple of questions. Should one only win one? Would one want to have won that one in round one?
Can you repeat the question?
Just kidding. We love doing the super quiz, and we get no feedback about it at all. So we do it. It's blind. We're going in blind. We don't know whether people love it or hate it, but it's definitely one of those two things. Anyway, Zach, it's your turn. Why don't you set up what this week's quiz is?
Well, Rod, I just thought instead of doing the normal hard copy quiz, because Formula One hasn't been around, we're going to copy what they've done, and we're going to do the virtual Grand Prix super quiz. It's virtual, it's online, live streamed. Smash that like button, hit subscribe. Brought to you possibly by Codemasters eQuiz.
Love it.
So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions for you, but because we've already talked about Daniel Abt, 2 of those questions have disappeared because I was going to ask you.
Well, you could just ask them for kicks.
So let's just see how much you've been following the e-racing Formula Rod. Why did Audi drop Daniel Abt?
For a joke. For having a personality.
Yeah.
Or you could say for cheating and deceiving the sport and misrepresenting the brand.
Yes, exactly.
All
and you answered the second question in there, which is why did he do it? It's because for a joke, right?
Because it was
funny.
the right thing to do.
Now, I know that you haven't been following along that closely, but one of the identifiers, or one of the marketing opportunities that all racing sim and e-racing has seen right now is that they can get celebrities, Rod. Celebrities onto the grid.
People.
And a lot of these people, I'm like, who are you? I've never heard of you. It's
so
like
much.
Celebrity Big Brother or Celebrity Dinner Date or Celebrity Survivor. Like, none of these people would you know. You have to have very specific viewing habits to know who they are. So, Rod, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people here that I'm going to go through, and then we're going to have one bonus question at the end. And I need you to tell me if they are a footballer, a pop star, or a YouTuber. Okay?
Okay, so all of the 4 people, they're one of those 3 things. Is that
Exactly right. Exactly
Footballer,
right. They are either
YouTuber, or a pop star. Is that it?
That's it. That
Thanks.
is it.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
question 1 of the Are They a Footballer, Pop Star or YouTuber section of this Smash That Like Button quiz is, who is Sergio Aguero?
Sounds like a footballer.
Yes, he is a footballer. He is a Manchester City footballer, Sergio Aguero. But quite during lockdown and even pre-lockdown, he plays a lot of FIFA online, and is very. His streams are very popular, and he's known for his big outbursts when there are goals or things go wrong. And it's also, people love the fact that he has his player like man of the match trophies. He uses them to like prop up his PlayStation. Like not Connect, but like, you know, Vision little camera thing like near his TV. So people love him for that. So Sergio Aguero, correct, a footballer. Number 2, who is Jimmy Broadbent? Is he a footballer, a pop star, or a YouTuber?
Jimmy Broadbent. He sounds like a cricketer or something.
Not one of the options.
I'll go pop star.
Although, that being said, cricketers have been racing on grids. Ben Stokes did some racing, and I think that, Stuart
we saw
Broad
him.
did
Remember
as well.
that time? Remember that time we saw
Yes.
him at the cricket and he eclipsed the sun? He was so massive. Anyway.
Yes, sorry, what did you say? I missed your answer.
Pop star.
Ba-bow. He's not.
No.
I shouldn't do the sound effects. We pipe them in. He is a
whoops.
YouTuber.
YouTube, okay.
He quite does a lot of simulator and video game streaming and like recaps
Streamer. Got
of racing games and different sims and all that kind of stuff. So
Happy for him.
I watched some of his stuff. Pretty interesting.
Cool.
Number 3. Are they a footballer, pop star, or YouTuber? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Oh my goodness. Well, we haven't had a pop star yet. I'll go pop star again.
No, he is
No.
a footballer. He plays for Arsenal. He plays just around the corner from me. He
Do you ever see
loves
him?
cars, though. Pardon?
Do you ever see him
Do I
on the
ever
street?
see him? No, that's the annoying thing about. Even though
That is annoying.
the Arsenal home ground is a 5-minute walk from my house, don't come and find me on the streets unless you've got nice things to say. If you'd like to buy me a beer, it's fine.
Just go to
throw
Arsenal's
rocks on my
home ground,
windows.
walk for 5 minutes, and you will be at Zach's
find
house.
it. Yeah,
how it works.
just, in London. No, they because their training ground is in Hertfordshire, just kind of north of London. A lot of them don't actually really even live around this area, but he's quite famous, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, for owning Lamborghinis and Ferraris that he has put like rainbow reflective color wraps on, like real pearlescent wraps on his cars. Like they're like gold that like shimmers in rainbow colors. They're really insane, but they're cool.
Mate, that's what makes him a famous YouTuber?
Yeah.
Think he's a YouTuber.
No,
Okay, great.
footballer.
No.
All right, the last one, Rod. Making you guess. Louis Fonzi.
Well, I've gone pop star twice already, and there hasn't been one yet out of this 4. So I'm going to do the safe thing, and I'm going to say this guy's a pop star.
This guy's a pop star. He is one of the performers in Despacito. That's not the band name, that's the song name, but he performed on the song Despacito. Apparently very, very, very famous. One of the most watched.
Yeah. How does that one go again?
Despacito. That's the way, right? Yeah.
Good hook.
Oh, Despacito.
All right. Well, I'll have to look that up afterwards.
Yeah, I just thought he had a cool name. Louis
does.
Fonzi. Louis Fonzi. That's a good name. Rod, the last question.
Hey.
Which Formula One team was alone in featuring both of their actual Formula One drivers in the first virtual Spanish Grand Prix? Was it A, Red Bull, B, McLaren, or C, Williams?
I'm going to say McLaren.
I thought it could have been McLaren. Spanish GP, Lando Norris is always doing them, although he hasn't appeared in 3 out of 4 of the races because his internet connection's bad, so which seems insane to me. If he really cared about them, or if, McLaren really cared about them, they would sort him out with at least like a 4G SIM card for his house or something. Yeah. But no, it is Williams. They had Russell and Latifi perform.
Makes sense.
At a race.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Russell would do it. And then Latifi is like, well, I'm literally doing nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Rod, that was the virtual online live stream. Smash that like button, subscribe now, brought to you possibly by Codemasters eQuiz. Well done.
I have subscribed. I'm leaving negative comments left, right, and centre. Zach, thank you so much. I learned a little bit about sim racing, a lot about myself.
Yes.
Well, maybe we're pushing up towards nearly an hour, if you can believe it. Zach, maybe we want to just lay out a final thought or something, and then we will boot this little baby home.
Yeah. One of my final thoughts. I have a little reflection in that I'm pretty sure I said on our maybe our post Melbourne podcast that I think we would struggle to get like 8 races in this year, and right now Formula One seems to be aiming for like 16. I'm still suspicious that they won't be able to do that many, but I think we're going to get more than 10, which is great work, you know? So my final thought is I vastly underestimated the kind of drive of Formula One to get this season some semblance of importance, I suppose, or relevance. And I'm going to, walk back those statements. I reckon Formula One's going to get at least more than 10 races in.
I'm going to say don't count your chickens until they've hatched. I reckon we'll get probably 8 and no more in the season.
Wow.
And that will be, not only behind closed doors, but it'll be like drivers in cars. You're not allowed to get out of the car unless you're inside a hazmat suit. And, all the officials will be in a bubble of some description.
That's a sad state of affairs, but...
It sure is.
Maybe that's how
I didn't make the virus,
go.
Zach. I just spread it. Cut that out. I do not spread the virus.
Is that a knock on the door, Rod? You haven't installed the Track and Trace app, but you announced on a podcast that you've been spreading coronavirus, so that's it. Off to Australian jail you go.
Boy, just think how popular I was on Facebook when I was ranting and raging about how people shouldn't install the tracing app. Like, oh boy, Mr. Popular over here. Yeah, I'm the conspiracy guy in my friendship group. Who knew?
You and Michael Moore, best mates.
Yeah, except less of a douchebag.
Much less.
We're getting into some bad areas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's stop talking and let's reconvene. Same bat time, same bat podcast, same next bat week. My brain stopped working. It's time to wrap it up. Yeah. Enjoy your week, everyone. Stay safe. We'll be back with we're on the run to gold here, run to home, with only 3 episodes
home
left.
stretch.
Dare to swear, exactly. And, things are getting good. I'm looking forward to working out who's going to be crowned world champion this year. Looking forward to talking to you more. Hopefully there's some more e-racing controversy that we can cover. And
Yes.
I'll return the favor with a little super quiz of my own next time. But until then... Pause for Zach to put in his last minute thing before I say, I've been Rodney.
And I've been Zach.
Okay, nothing for you to add. All right. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
What a shitful outro.
Oh, yeah.